au bonyeza *719#. COVID-19 inazuilika. Jilinde, linda familia na jamii. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na serikali ya Kenya.
Malaika sifa za Bwana, jina la pekee kwetu ni Yesu. Walioshinda dhambi na mauti, tutakanyaga kwa utaratibu.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us for this edition of Channel 1 Lunchtime News on this 10th day of July 2020. My name is Edward Kabasa. Our sign language interpreter is Simon Karotha. You can interact with us through our social media platforms, KBC Channel 1 on Facebook and at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter. Let's take a look at some of the stories we have for you this afternoon. 5 people are feared dead and others seriously injured following a grisly road accident involving a lorry and 2 14-seater matatus at Kingatuni in Masii along the Machakos-Kitui Highway. In another incident, 2 people were seriously injured last night in an accident that involved a lorry and a personal car at the border of Embu and Kirinyaga counties.
According to the Machakos police, the Thursday evening accident involved 2 14-seater matatus and a lorry at Kingatuni downhill along the busy Machakos-Kitui Highway. 5 people are reported to have lost their lives in the accident, with scores injured. The wreckage of the ill-fated vehicle attested to the magnitude of the accident. In Embu, 2 people are nursing serious injuries after they were involved in a road accident at the border of the Embu and Kirinyaga counties. The accident involved a lorry and a personal car. According to Franklin Mbae, who was in the lorry, the injured were rushed to a hospital after spending some time on the road.
Tumefika hapa nikamwambia tuache, nasikia tu nilale hapa nyuma. Sasa ile kulala nyuma nikasikia gari imetoa sauti kubwa sana, hata sikuelewa kutoka hapo vile imeendelea. Nikakuta driver ameumia sana.
Eyewitnesses say rescue team from the county took time to get to the scene and are now calling on the county government of Embu to ensure ambulances and rescue personnel are available on time in case of accidents and disasters.
Ni upande wa accident kunakuwa na gari ambayo inafika faster kama raia vile wamefika, ndio tukue tunaokolea mioyo ingine ya watu kama huyo jamaa. Sasa angeenda fiti.
The rising number of abandoned fishing nets in Lake Naivasha poses a major threat to troubled fisheries sector. Authorities in Nakuru County say if no action is taken, many will lose their source of livelihood.
This is Lake Naivasha. The adverse effects of COVID-19 pandemic is evident. Tens of workers who lost their jobs are here engaging in illegal fishing activities. The rising number of abandoned nets now poses a major threat to the troubled fisheries sector. Speaking during the cleaning up exercise, Naivasha Sub-County Fisheries Officer Nicholas Kagundu regretted the deteriorating state of Lake Naivasha, saying urgent intervention is needed.
There has been a lot of illegal fishing, and that loss of data has affected what we record. So what we are doing is ensuring now that we do away with illegal fishers so that we can be able to correctly report the current situation. Otherwise, the reported low landings is because a lot of people have been fishing. It is what we call an accountant, statistics.
Kagundu said the county government has stepped up patrols along the lake, with a view of ending illegal fishing activities around the shores.
It has been a challenge since the issue of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have had a lot of, illegal fishing, especially with the surging numbers of people who are unemployed, youth who are at home. And due to that, we have had a lot of illegal nets being, dumped into the waters.
Among fish under threat is the tilapia species, which is a popular species among consumers.
Haya majani yameshikilia 2% ya bahari, ambapo wavuvi pia wanateseka sana. Wakati wale upepo unapiga, haya magugu yanaenda pamoja na nyavu za wavuvi. So hiyo inakuwa ni changamoto kubwa sana. So kwa hivyo hali ya gugu maji, pia serikali ya kaunti ni vizuri iweze kuangalia jinsi ambaye itaweza kufanya. Kuna sehemu zingine kuna gugu maji katika ziwa zingine, tunasikia wana recycle hiyo magugu inatolewa. So pia hapa kwetu ni vizuri waweze kutuma wale watu wana teknolojia ya juu wakuja waweze kuadvisiana pamoja na washikandao, ili tuweze kujua vile tunaweza yatoa haya magugu kwenye maji.
The chairman of the Fishermen Network, Paul Olang, expressed concern over what he terms as infiltration of the industry by cartels.
Changamoto yenye iko kwa hii maji ni wakora. Wakora wameingia kwa hii maji wengi sana. Unakuta kama tunakuta sasa hii sio selling peke yake. Kuna group nyingine inaitwa ngoja ambayo wanafanya sport fishing. Hawa sana wanakuwa wengi na wanatumia hii boat ya white. Hii yenye wakora wanatumia usiku, ikifika asubuhi hawa ndio wanarudi na hiyo. Na jambo kama hiyo tulikuwa naongea na kama Nakuru tusikane na hawa, kwa sababu tunajaribu sana Fisheries Department na PMU ili wasiingie kwa lake. Wameingia wengi na wanatumia nyafu mbaya sana.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Timothy Kipnaso.
Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Anna Madi, says courts are bravely wading through financial difficulties to keep the wheels of justice rolling. Amadi, who was in Homa Bay to inspect the ongoing construction of the High Court, expressed optimism that the judiciary will rise above existing challenges to expedite pending cases, but warned that it won't be blamed for shortfalls.
Trapped judiciary says it will not let financial constraints derail the delivery of justice to Kenyans. Chief Registrar Anna Madi says the little that is trickling in will be prudently used to improve service delivery.
As an accounting officer, it's in my interest that when we begin projects, we should finish them on time, because when they delay, then the expenses, the costs goes higher in terms of interest, in terms of penalties. And it's not good for us as an institution. It is not good for the taxpayer.
Amadi said the ongoing coronavirus pandemic has forced the judiciary to shift focus to information and communication technology.
As an accounting officer, it's in my interest that when we begin projects, we should finish them on time, because when they delay, then the expenses, the costs goes higher in terms of interest, in terms of penalties. And it's not good for us as an institution. It is not good for the taxpayer.
Amadi was on an inspection tour of ongoing construction works at the High Court in Homa Bay, a project that had previously stalled for 3 years of a lack of funds. Over the last couple of years, the judiciary and the executive have been at crossroads over constant budget cuts.
MURANG'A County Government says its COVID-19 ICU bed facility is open to outsiders seeking treatment. The county boss, Mwangiwa area, says health is right and nobody should be turned away from accessing it. MURANG'A County has 16 confirmed coronavirus cases.
MURANG'A County Governor Mwangiwa area says the county's 35-bed capacity isolation facility is ready to assist all Kenyans battling COVID-19 disease, irrespective of their county of origin. The governor, who is opposed to a decision by the Ministry of Health to have counties take care of their own people, said denying Kenyans access to health was discriminatory and a violation of human rights. The facility, that was built in a record of 21 days, was consecrated in May 2020 after installation of equipment was fully done. MURANG'A County has 16 confirmed cases of coronavirus. Early this week, the Ministry of Health urged county governments to improve their capacity to accommodate coronavirus caseloads, warning that patients will be treated where they are. With the country's peak, which was predicted to start in August, around the corner, Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe said it will be difficult to transfer patients from other counties to Nairobi.
There will be no lifting of people from counties to Nairobi. In a little while, as we see the progress in hospitals today, there will be no capacity for you to to be brought to Nairobi.
Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
Busia County Commissioner Joseph Kanyiri has issued a movement advisory to anyone traveling to Busia to exercise precautionary measures following the lifting of travel restrictions by the government. The administrator says anyone exhibiting symptoms associated with COVID-19 while on transit to Busia will be subjected to mandatory tests for coronavirus.
With the spread of the novel COVID-19 disease reaching the community level, counties are reporting rising cases of the virus. Busia, a border county, has its fair share of the disease, with 514 confirmed cases recorded so far. Busia County Commissioner Joseph Kanyiri wants Kenyans to minimize travel to the region, not unless need arises.
Kuna hatari, unaweza ukaja hapa, uko katika hali nzuri zako za afya, kutoka Mombasa, Nairobi, na huku pia corona ipo Busia. Hii ndio county imeorodheshwa nambari ya 3. Ukarokota huu ugonjwa na kurudi nao kule ulikotoka.
While in Busia, Kanyeri says anyone found with illness symptoms while on travel would be subjected to COVID-19 test.
Mikakati ipo barabarani ya watu kuzidi kupimwa, haswa vipimo joto, ili kudhibiti kama mtu ana vipimo joto vinavyoashiria yeye ana uwezo wa kuwa na COVID-19. Ndio pia utafiti zaidi na vipimo zaidi vikaweza kutekelezwa.
He says COVID-19 precautionary measures have been put in place at the Busia-Malaba border point, warning of stiff penalty on anyone getting into and out of the country through porous border.
Ukija hapa usitoke huku na msalimia yule, unaenda kumsalimia nyanyako kwa lile bonde lingine, ukavuka lile lingine kumsalimia shangazi lako, alafu kabla ya kutoke ukasema na mjomba wangu ambaye aishi kule kwingine Funyura nitaenda kumsalimia, kuenda ukasambaza ugonjwa kwao, au wewe ukatoa ugonjwa. Sio kwamba unatoa hizi kama mifano, ipo hatari.
The national government ended cessation of movement in the country in what is seen as a litmus test on Kenyans' self-discipline in the fight against the contagious virus. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
Thank you very much, Irene Mchuma Udim, for that report. We are taking a very short break, but we still have plenty more lined up for you. And plus, of course, you can continue interacting with us on Twitter. We have posted the story on the financial matters at the judiciary. You can check that out as well. The story about the MURANG'A County preparedness to deal with coronavirus cases. Of course, the county has 16 cases so far, but the governor says that its ICU facility is open to the public. You can also find that on Twitter. We are taking a very short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Coca-Cola, taste the simple joys.
Je, ungependa kujua jinsi ninavyojizuia kuambukizwa au kuambukizana virusi vya korona? Ni rahisi. Mwanzo, ninaziendesha shughuli zangu zote za kikazi na hata za kibiashara kutoka papa hapa nyumbani kwangu. Baadaye, ninaitunza mwili wangu vyema kwa kuiweka katika hali iliyo sawa kupitia mazoezi ya mara kwa mara na pia lishe bora. Mwishowe, ninaungana na jamii yangu pamoja na marafiki zangu kupitia njia ya simu au mtandao ili kuzuia dhiki na upweke wakati huu mgumu. Kumbuka, haijalishi kama uko na virusi vya korona au la, salia nyumbani. Uokoe maisha.
Please don't tell me you shaved off my eyebrows.
Either one.
Can I take you somewhere?
You are so going on a date with Will Trainer.
It's too booby.
Get the red dress out.
I don't want to go in yet. I just want to be a man who's been to a concert with a girl in a red dress. A few minutes more.
Loving can heal.
I promised my parents 6 months, and that's what I've given them.
But that was before me.
I want him to live, but only if he wants to live.
I can't just let this happen.
You can't change who people are.
I mean, what can you do?
You love them.
And if you hurt me,
I don't want you to miss all the things that someone else could give you.
I can make you happy. I have become a whole new person because of you.
Do you know something, Clark? You are pretty much the only thing that makes me want to get up in the morning.
wait for me to come.
It's 1:15. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for keeping us company. Former Senators Boni Khalwale, Johnston Muthama and Hassan Omar have urged Kenyans to rise against neo-colonialism and defend the constitutional order. The former lawmakers claim democracy is currently under threat despite the pain Kenyans went through to achieve a new order. They say the country cannot afford to sink back to dark days of political oppression and ethnic antagonism that was used by the ruling elite to advance partisan interests.
Kenyans indeed have a solemn duty to defend the Constitution and stand against the tidal wave of state repression, or be swept into submission and servitude by the contemptuous forces of neo-colonialism intent on nothing but controlling the destiny of the people of Kenya.
What was witnessed on 7th of July was complete disregard of legality, necessity, and proportionality by the police, and a clear adoption of brute force as a guiding operational principle designed to inflict maximum pain and terror to young citizens.
Inashangasha sana kuona kwamba serikali ya sasa, na baada ya kuungana na upinzani wa wale waliofuka mpaka na kwenda kuungana na serikali na kupoteza haki ya Wakenya ya kuweka upinzani, wao wanajaribu kupindua na kubandirisha katiba yetu.
An ungovernmental organization has launched a program in Nakuru to help victims overcome trauma associated with gender-based violence, early marriages and teenage pregnancies. Young African Women Initiative, through an initiative dubbed Kuimarisha Project, is working with creative artists and content developers to produce short films on detection, prevention and legal remedies for those facing the challenges.
As cases of gender-based violence, early marriages and teenage pregnancies rise under the current grip of COVID-19 pandemic, Young African Women Initiative YAWI, a non-governmental organization funded by Aga Khan Foundation and United States International Aid Agency USAID, has launched a program in Nakuru to help victims overcome trauma associated with the vices. The organization has already brought on board 14 community-based organizations and youth groups in Nakuru to help spread the word.
YAWI has a network of about 15 CSOs that was represented, CSOs and self-help groups that were represented in our network today, and we have been able to share this information with them and how they are going to come on board and how they are going to benefit from the whole process and how they are going to support.
YAWI Executive Director Fidelis Wambui Karanja states that the initiative dubbed Kuimarisha Project was launched following a surge in vices, with perpetrators identified as mainly close family members such as intimate partners and relatives.
Most of them, they are going for illegal abortions. they are going to procure abortions, and some of them are ending up in dying, and others are running away from home. And also the fear of that if they share it out with an outsider, they will be victimized. And that's why we are asking or requesting the government that we should have county gender rescue centers owned by the county government, so that these girls, when they realize they are pregnant, they can get a place where they can get psychosocial support, they can be counseled, they can be helped on maybe how to nurture their pregnancy until term, and how they can go back to school and continue with their education.
CARNAGE says the project has unveiled the Elewa Haki product, where information on gender-based violence and human rights is shared through Zoom meetings and online platforms via social media.
It has not been easy because of the relationship at home, because you find that the spouses sometimes they are all together, and so they fear that if I report this case, what will happen to me a day after, or what will happen to my child. But we are really sensitizing the people within this network to reach out to many people and to report as many cases as possible so that they can find help.
Members of the center, who include creative artists and content developers, will produce diverse stories related to the vices to help victims with information on their rights. Meanwhile, Wiper Democratic Movement leader Kalonzo Musyoka has challenged parents to take a more responsive approach towards their children now that they are at home due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Kalonzo was speaking when receiving donations from the Kalonzo Musyoka Foundation. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
The county government of Kilifi has set aside 1 billion shillings to improve infrastructure in the region. The county's transport chief executive member, Josephat Motela, says over 5,000 kilometers of roads will be tarmacked using the funds to ease movement of farm produce to marketplaces.
The challenge of transportation of perishable goods to markets in Kilifi County will soon be in the past. The county government intends to tarmac 5,000 kilometers rural and urban roads in the region at a cost of 1 billion shillings. Transport Chief Executive Member Josephat Mwatela said farmers in Kilifi have been disadvantaged for long and they now need to enjoy.
In most those urban areas, especially in Malindi, whereby that town has prospered as a result of the tourism, the county sees the importance of improving the road network in those areas.
Meanwhile, Kiambu County government aims at raising 2 billion shillings to equip hospitals in the region. The county boss, James Nyoro, says an increase on bed facilities will boost the capacity in handling rising COVID-19 cases. He spoke while receiving donations from well-wishers in the fight against the contagious virus.
We started to think about home care and home isolation, and so far we have about 158 patients who are under home care being observed by our community health volunteers.
Elsewhere, community health workers and volunteers in Kisii County have benefited from personal protective items thanks to Africa Medical Research Foundation, AMREF. The region's health CEC, Sarah Omache, said over 20,000 face masks, 7,000 surgical gloves and sanitizers will strengthen service delivery to households.
Let us, more than ever before, observe the health rules we have been given.
And Isiolo County Woman Member of Parliament Rehema Jaldesa has called on the national government to implement a cash transfer program to vulnerable families across the country and end the relief food distribution exercise in a bid to stop fraud where beneficiaries are shortchanged.
Milioni 350 ambaye imewekwa kwa special program ya kusaidia watu wakati wa njaa. Hiyo pesa iko wapi? Na msiniambie na mnisiambiwe ati hiyo pesa ni ile jogoo kilo moja ilisonguka soko ya Isu. Hiyo tumekataa.
Irene Mchuma Udim, Channel 1.
Travelers arriving in the UK from dozens of countries will no longer have to self-isolate for 2 weeks. The rules are being relaxed for arrivals from more than 60 countries and British overseas territories. Globally, there are now 12.2 million cases of coronavirus infections and more than 550,000 deaths.
Passengers entering England from 59 destinations, including many popular holiday spots, will no longer have to quarantine as of today. However, not all of them have ended restrictions for UK tourists when they arrive there. Travelers are exempt from quarantine if they arrive in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. Elsewhere, foreign travelers visiting South Korea from countries with high numbers of coronavirus cases will need to provide certificates showing a negative test result. The new measure, due to be implemented on Monday, will require visitors to show paperwork issued within 48 hours of travel. Italy has banned arrivals from 13 at-risk countries. Health Minister Roberto Speranza says the pandemic is in its most acute phase, so no one is allowed in from countries that have recorded high infection rates, including Brazil, Kuwait, Moldova and Peru. And Hong Kong will close all schools from Monday after the territory reported a spike in locally transmitted COVID-19 infections, the city's education minister has said. In Africa, the African Union Commission has launched a consortium for COVID-19 vaccine clinical trials aimed at securing more than 10 trials as early as possible. The new consortium will be headed by the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. More than 12.2 million people have tested positive for coronavirus disease known as COVID-19, and more than 553,000 have died, according to data compiled by Johns Hopkins University. More than 6.7 million patients have recovered. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News.
Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara may run for a third term in office following the sudden death of Prime Minister Amadou Coulibaly. Elsewhere, Mali's opposition is calling for protests to demand the resignation of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta a day after he promised some reforms.
Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara may have to stand for a third term following the sudden death of Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly on Wednesday. The country has begun 8 days of national mourning in honor of the late Prime Minister, who was the candidate for the ruling RDHP party in October's presidential election after Alassane Ouattara's decision to step down. Analysts say it will be difficult for the party to find a candidate of the same stature as Coulibaly. Hence, Ouattara may then have to stand again. Ouattara's bid for a third term may, however, be seen as abuse of democracy. He came into power in 2011 after his predecessor, Laurent Gbagbo, was ousted from office after refusing to accept Ouattara's internationally recognized victory in the previous year's election. Elsewhere, opposition groups in Mali have called for protests to demand the resignation of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta a day after he promised some reforms. Star singer Salif Keïta has asked Malians to join the protests that are led by the prominent Muslim cleric Mahmoud Dicko. In a speech to the nation late on Wednesday, President Keïta offered to appoint new judges to the Constitutional Court, which has been at the center of controversy following the contested March legislative elections. In June, protesters demanded the resignation of President Keïta for failing to end an Islamist insurgency in central and northern Mali. Elsewhere in South Korea's capital, Seoul, police have found the body of the city's mayor after he went missing on Thursday. Park Won-soon's daughter reportedly told police he had left a message before leaving the house, leading her to raise the alarm. His body was found at Mount Bugak in northern Seoul, near where his phone signal was last detected. No cause of death has yet been declared.
Let's take a look at some business news now. Kenya intends to increase exports to the U.S. by 5% once the new free trade agreement between the two countries takes effect. Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina says Kenya stands to earn 2 trillion shillings annually once the FTA agreement materializes, adding that similar trade negotiations with the UK and China are on course.
Currently, Kenya exports goods worth 61 billion shillings annually to the U.S., with nuts, vegetables and textile products forming the bulk of the exports. In a bid to show up this volume, Kenya has initiated negotiations for a free trade agreement with the North American nation ahead of the 2025 expiry of the African Growth and Opportunity Act AGOA agreement. Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina said the FTA will give local manufacturers new markets in the US and net the country an estimated 2 trillion shillings annually in export earnings.
Our estimation is if we increased our market presence to 5% of those same products, we would earn 2 trillion shillings in export revenue in no time.
The CS further says similar trade negotiations with the UK are currently ongoing to review afresh existing agreements in light of the former exit from the European Union.
Also, in negotiations with the UK, as they leave Europe, they now create a new challenge because we had the UK market completely wrapped well under EPA and our market access regulations as we enter as part of the European Union. But now that they're out, we also have to secure the foothold that Kenyan products had in that market.
The government has been urged to keep the country's supply chain running to enable manufacturers access both local and international markets for their products.
We've delayed the ACFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area, from this month to now it's in January 2021. So January, if it comes in and it's live, so we can trade whatever we manufacture here, we can trade with the rest of Africa.
Local manufacturers have been urged to produce high-quality products that can compete in the regional and international markets. Benson Drioba reporting for Channel 1 Business.
Farmers in Kitui County are seeking the government support in funding and capacity building to help boost food production. The farmers say challenges such as climate change, rapidly growing population, invasion of pests and water scarcity are affecting yields.
The combined effects of climate change and rapid population growth are increasing food insecurity, environmental degradation and high poverty levels. In Kitui County, erratic weather patterns are negatively affecting farming activities. Farmers are calling for government support in capacity building and construction of irrigation projects to guarantee all year-round production. They are urging the government to cushion them against the effects of economic contraction occasioned by COVID-19, invasion of pests and farm input support.
Ningeomba serikali ya county government iwe inatutembelea kwa kutufundisha ili tuweze kusidi kupanda hizo watermelon, sababu watermelon tukipanda watermelon kwa wingi naweza pata pesa na inisaidie.
They believe supporting small-scale farmers is the only way to resolve Kenya's food insecurity.
Tunambahatisha tu kujaribu kupanda chakula just for the sake uone kama chakula itafaulu, lakini hatuna ile elimu ya kujua ni chakula gani inatakiwa ipandwe hapa.
We are requesting the county government of Kitui County through its officials, that is through small scale, through the extension officers in the ground or in the grassroots level, to come and visit farmers. Whereby in visiting farmers, they will give information.
Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Short video app TikTok has halted operations in Hong Kong. According to a notice posted on its website, the company flagged the move earlier this week after China imposed a new security law on the city. The law has restricted freedoms in the semi-autonomous territory, raising concerns of official oversight of social media.
The new law has prompted other social media platforms such as Facebook and Twitter to start reviewing their operations in Hong Kong. TikTok has come under scrutiny from the US and other countries because of concerns it could share user data with Chinese authorities. The app was launched outside of mainland China by Beijing-based ByteDance to reach a global audience. A spokesman for the app said that TikTok might come under a new business structure. He also reiterated previous pledges that ByteDance would refuse to share TikTok user data with Chinese authorities. TikTok has increased its popularity during global coronavirus lockdowns, with about 315 million people downloading the app in the first 3 months of this year, according to research firm SENSITIZATION. Elsewhere, cosmetic surgery clinics around the world are reporting a rise in people getting treatment during the coronavirus outbreak, as they can hide their treatment behind a mask or work from home. Despite the virus shutting businesses across the globe, a number of plastic surgery clinics have remained open, adopting stricter measures such as COVID-19 tests and more frequent cleaning. Clinics in the US, Japan, South Korea, and Australia have also seen a rise in patients coming in for treatment, including lip fillers, Botox, facelifts, and nose jobs. Finally, in the United Kingdom, the Independent Institute of Fiscal Studies puts the direct cost of the measures introduced since March to address the pandemic at €190 billion, equivalent to 9% of UK annual national income. Just this week, the UK government announced new financial assistance for the arts sector, museums, theatres and music venues. The new measures build on other steps already taken, including the coronavirus job retention scheme, some tax holidays and deferrals for business and additional welfare benefits. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
At some other stories making headlines locally, leaders and residents of MURANG'A ward in Nairobi County have challenged the Nairobi Metropolitan Services to work hand in hand with the county government to complete stalled projects in the area. MURANG'A ward member of County Assembly Paul Kiwithi Elias Kados says it is unfortunate that 5 years down the line, a bridge connecting MURANG'A to Kayole is yet to be completed.
Residents of MURANG'A ward in Nairobi are now appealing to Nairobi Metropolitan Services to complete the construction of a bridge connecting the area to Kayole that has taken over 5 years now. Led by area member of County Assembly Paul Kiwithi Kados, they say that the program that was being undertaken by Nairobi County government should be completed to ease traffic flow in the area.
Hii daraja, the contractor who is doing the bridge is different from the contractor ule anafanya ngambo ile kwa barabara. Ukiangalia pia the contractor ule anafanya hii barabara ni tofauti na ule wa daraja.
Tutakuwa tunatumia hata shilingi 20 ama shilingi 30 tuko utawala. Tumekuwa na tatizo mingi kwa hii barabara zaidi. Kwanza kuteseka. Kuna wakati kukinyesha ungebidi ushuke na mguu ndio ufuke.
Speaking during an inspection tour along the stalled bridge, they say that the completion of the project has taken too long and it was time it comes to a close.
When we have fights between the NMS and the county government, maybe it's we as residents are the ones who suffer.
We have already done about 60% late now. Kwa hivyo natarajia in the next 3 months tunaweza kuwa tunakamilisha, na tushukuru tu county pamoja na NMS ligana vile wameshikana, sababu tunaona hata tukifanya hatutaumia.
Locals said Nairobi Metropolitan Services should not focus only on the CBD, as all residents of the city also need services.
Wakuje mashinani ili tuwaonyeshe zile shida ambazo zina affect wananchi hapa kwa ground.
Kama ni contractor, wasikane wote. Ndio hii kiisha tarehe ile huwa anatuambia yote ishe pamoja. Sababu macontractor ni wangapi? Ni 3.
Kazi inaonekana iko kwa sababu kila mtu, hata mtu anakimbia kama anaona mtu ameshinda, anakimbia anafanya bidii ndio wakati ile kamba apate zawadi yake.
Major General AG Majiri, who is in charge of Embakasi Garrison, who was present, urged locals to help in beautifying the road by planting trees and ensure the environment is clean. Reporting for Channel 1 News, I'm Timothy Kipnosu.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Mina Mohammed says a decision on whether to resume sporting activities in the country or not will be determined on Monday next week after she receives a report from a task force that is working on the matter. Amina made the remarks when she officially launched the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya.
Sporting activities within the country were suspended since March when the outbreak of coronavirus was reported in Kenya. However, plans to resume the activities have been ongoing after Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohammed appointed members of an advisory committee on resumption of the sporting activities. Amina has said that a final decision will be made next week after receiving a report from the committee. She was speaking during the launch of Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya ADAK e-learning that is geared towards enhancing the efforts of fighting doping in the country.
Expectation is we will resume some form of sport, right, as soon as it's announced by His Excellency the President. The report, the recommendations will be sent to him through the Ministry of Health. And I have said again that, I said that to yesterday, that we're very grateful to the Ministry of Health because they provided 2 senior officers who are sitting in the task force and are supporting us, just to make sure that we don't go back and forth, asking whether this is fine. You know, they're sitting with us throughout and making sure that the protocols are actually, kosher, that they are good protocols.
Realization of the fact that during the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, we are not able to carry out the education programs that we normally have, the workshops, the outreach programs. Even we cannot access schools like we used to do. And so therefore, during that period, we thought of a way in which an innovation was introduced by that department. And we see it working very well. We see the people who have now already experimented, and tried to reach this platform. Many. They don't have to come to Nairobi. Our education officers don't need to travel up country to do the same. All you need is a tablet, a computer, or a smartphone.
The program targets sportsmen and women from the ages of 14, which becomes the first ever program to have been initiated in the African continent. Sportsmen and women will be required to sign up to access online training and tests in 3 different modules. Frederick Moki for Channel 1 Sports.
And that does it for us for this edition of Channel 1 Lunchtime News. More news on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. My name is Edward Kabasa. Our sign language interpreter has been Simon Karotha. Have yourself a very wonderful afternoon.